I'm with John Crandall of Liberty Tax Service. He's an enrolled agent with the IRS, meaning that he can prepare your taxes. And you've done your fair share of tax returns in your career.
Mm-hmm.
John knows the kind of mistakes that people make when divorce occurs in their lives and how divorce can affect their tax status and some of the things that they do wrong, some of the money they leave on the table. So, John, tell us some of the things that you've come across that you wish divorced people would know about before it's too late for them.
One of the biggest things I see is that the people let emotion get in the way. What they do is, if they don't like each other, they want to file separately. The problem with filing separately is you each do your own taxes and you can claim whichever kid you want, but there are certain tax credits you don't get if you file separately. For example, the earned income credit. For a lot of low-income people, that's a lot of money. If you file separately, you don't get that.
Don't qualify for it.
You don't. The IRS just won't let you have it.
Won't let you have it.
So sometimes it's best to. You don't have to come into the office at the same time, but if you file jointly, you can get that money, divide it between you, and then do whatever you have to do it later on. Another thing that people always do is they get divorced at the wrong time. You are considered. Whatever your marital status is at the end of the year, that is how you are for the entire year. So if you get divorced on January 1st, and then you come to do your taxes for the year previous, then you're still considered married for the previous year.
So get divorced January 1st, 2016, and you can file jointly for the year 2015.
Right.
Get divorced on December 30th, 2015, and you're out of luck.
Well, then you're still married. Oh, yeah, correct. Correct.
Yeah. In other words, you might just a couple of days, which won't make any difference to you and your spouse when it comes to getting divorced, but it can have a huge impact on your tax status and your options for filing.
Correct.
What are some other things you see people do, whether they're divorced or not, but like that divorced parents would perhaps pay more attention to when it comes to children, when it comes to property, write-offs, things like that, perhaps their exemptions? What are some of the mistakes you see people making?
Some of the mistakes that people make regarding their children are they claim children that they're not legally allowed to claim.
Okay.
For example, if you verbally come to the agreement that this year I'll take the children, next year you take the children, but your divorce decree says something different, the IRS is going to go by what the divorce decree says.
However, if they know about, what is it Form
8332.
8332, then you can do that anyway. You can just say, we've agreed to do something differently, and as long as you filled that out, then everything's kosher with the IRS.
Correct. Form 332 allows you to give the exemption to another person.
But if you don't have that, you may attract the suspicions of the IRS. You may get audited. You may get penalized.
Exactly.
Right. Anything else?
One thing that the IRS is really coming down hard on now is, does your children have a different last name than the people doing the taxes? Now, I know that people sometimes don't adopt the children or whatever, but if you're trying to claim children that are your ex-spouse's child because they lived with you for most of the year, that could raise some eyebrows because of the different last name.
How do you make sure that the IRS doesn't get suspicious? Is there another form for that?
Just get documentation.
Just get documentation that the children were living with you and you were the one providing their
Exactly.
support?
Exactly.
Okay.
Because what happens is many people try to claim children that they're not allowed to claim. So what happens is it's a first come first served basis. The IRS doesn't know that somebody else is claiming the child, so they accept the tax return.
So if you if you have an ex-spouse and that spouse had some stepchildren of yours,
Mhm.
you need to make sure that you and your ex-spouse are on the same sheet of music when it comes to preparing each of your personal tax returns, so that there are not both people claiming the same children twice.
Correct.
All right. Well, if you have other questions, there are many other things that can affect you in a divorce situation, whether you're going through a divorce or you're dealing with a post-divorce tax filing situation, and John's here to answer your questions. Would you please give them your business name and contact information for those that would have more questions?
Certainly. We're at 55 West Main in Lehi, Utah. Our phone number is 801-766-6049. We're open 9 to 9 Monday through Friday and 9 to 5 on Saturdays.
Thanks so much.
My pleasure.